So we all know Warzone 2 is still brand new, but in this video, we're going to be going over what are the 5 best long-range rifles to be using at the start of Warzone 2, as well as DMZ. So the first gun we have is the RPK. Now, I knew this was going to be a meta weapon in Warzone back as soon as I tested out in Modern Warfare 2 on the first couple of days, but people are getting the build wrong on this weapon for sure. Now, first thing you want to do is make sure you're not using any barrel attachment. You don't want to be using any of these barrels. They do not help with recoil control, so therefore we shouldn't be using it. Now, if you do want to get bullet velocity, you should be using high velocity, and then the tuning for high velocity here is this right here. So you don't want to touch the bottom slider. It's just the left hand side slider here that we're putting all the way down to recoil smoothness. Then when it comes to the phase 3 grip, this is the best under barrel grip to control side to side recoil, better than the Ripper under barrel. We've done the testing. You can watch that video at the end of this one. We'll leave it linked. But we've tested this under barrel. It's the better one. And then when it comes to tuning, you want to put recoil stabilization maxed on the left hand side, and then idle stability maxed on the bottom slider as well. This is going to give you the maximum accuracy. Then when it comes to the suppressor, again, we've done testing on this, and the Husher silencer for the RPK gives you the least con to ADS time. Now, when it comes to tuning, you want to turn recoil smoothness all the way up to max, and then don't touch the bottom slider, because either you're going to con your recoil control or your bullet velocity, and let's be honest, we don't want to con either one of those. And then when it comes to the VLK optic, which I think is the best optic for long range in this game, people are using the Delta 4 optic, but I don't really like the Delta 4 optic. There's a bit too much visual recoil with that one. But when it comes to tuning, you want to put aim down sight time as fast as possible. So that's the left hand side slider all the way down. And then you want the eye position to be far as possible, because that's going to reduce the amount of visual recoil in game, which is basically what we're looking for. Then we've got the FTAC Elite stock, which is going to help with the recoil control. And then when it comes to tuning, again, we've got the aim down sight time all the way down to the bottom, and then idle stability maxed out as well, as you can see here. Now, showing you a quick test of this gun in the firing range with these attachments and builds. As you can see, this gun just literally lasers, especially at this longest distance right here. And not to mention, it also has a really large mag capacity, so the damage per mag on this is absolutely insane. And I had a big feeling that the LMGs would be meta in this game, and I do think they are. The only difference is people will be talking about the RAAL LMG, but that moves way too slow compared to the RPK. So next up, we've got the M4. This is probably going to be one of the most popular weapons just because everyone's leveled it up, but not to mention it is a well-rounded assault rifle, definitely good at long range as well if you build it this way. So again, VLK optic with the tuning that we had before. So aim down sight maxed out, and then the eye position is as far as possible. You do want to use the 60 round mags. You have to have it on the M4A1 because you do burn through ammo relatively quick with this gun, to be honest. Again, the phase 3 grip is the best. You can watch that video if you want to check that out. But again, tuning is going to be exactly the same. So recoil stabilization and aiming idle stability, once again, you need to max that out. Then we've got the Covert V suppressor. This is the best suppressor for the M4, and that's because it doesn't con your aim down sight time at all, even though it does stay in game, but it does give you the bullet velocity and recoil control. We actually tested this suppressor to be the best one for the M4. Now, when it comes to the tuning, once again, recoil smoothness all the way up, but do not touch the bullet velocity slider on this one. And then we've got the high tower barrel, which is the best barrel for long range on the M4. You want recoil steadiness, and you want the maximum damage range. Taking the M4 into the firing range now, as you can see, it literally does beam for the most part. Now, if you do fire for long periods of time, you kind of get into like a weird recoil where it bounces about a little bit more than usual. But as long as you're pulling down on that stick, you should be pretty much solid for up to 100 meters, in my opinion, with the M4. Absolutely solid weapon. Next up, we're moving into the TAQ-56, which is potentially my favorite weapon to use in this game right now. I do think it's about time that the SCAR actually got some love when it comes to a Modern Warfare game, or just kind of any Warzone Call of Duty game in general, and it's definitely a solid choice. Now, when it comes to the attachments, again, the VLK optic, you could choose whatever optic you prefer, really, to be honest, but I just like the VLK. I think it looks and feels really good in game. When it comes to tuning, once again, aim down sight time all the way down, and then eye position is as far as possible. 60 round mags, because we definitely need it. Phase 3 grip, once again, it's the best recoil stabilization under barrel in the game, so you do want to bump that all the way up on the left hand side and then slide it all the way to the right. when it comes to the aiming idle stability. Then when it comes to the covert V, again, it doesn't con your aim down sight time. We did the testing on this, and you do get the bullet velocity and sound suppression. But then when it comes to tuning, once again, do not touch the bullet velocity slider. Just bump up the recoil smoothness as much as possible. Then lastly, we've got the Tundra Pro barrel, which gives you damage range and bullet velocity. And then obviously when you're tuning that, you want to get the max recoil steadiness and the maximum damage range out of this weapon. TAQ-56 now in the firing range. As you can see, I pretty much missed no shots whatsoever. We'll try the long range just one more time just to show you how good it is at distance. All you need to do is pull down on your stick very slightly, and to be perfectly honest, this is an absolute ridiculous weapon right now. Next up, we have the M13B, and this gun has to make the list. I mean, it's super low recoil, it's the new gun in the game, and not only that, I do think they kind of held it off for a reason, because it is super powerful inside Warzone in my opinion. Again, the build is very similar, so 60 round mag, phase 3 grip. Again, the tuning is the same, so idle stability, recoil stabilization on the phase 3 grip, covert V because it doesn't con your aim down sight time once again, and then you want to bump up the recoil smoothness, and then you also want to make sure that bullet velocity slider is bang on in the middle. And then the Bruin Echelon barrel here is the one that you want to be using for the damage range, bullet velocity. It gives you hip fire accuracy and recoil control as well, which is not really too much of a bonus to get hip fire accuracy with an assault rifle that we'll be using at long range. But the rest of the bonuses are definitely welcome. And then when you do the tuning, you want to basically bump up the recoil steadiness and the damage range. And then again, same tuning for the VLK optic, nothing's really changed here. Now taking this into the firing range as well, as you can see here, you don't miss any shots. Now, the reason why it's slightly lower down on the list for me is because it does take a little bit of time to get your long range TTK. As you can see, it takes quite a few shots, and it's the same when you're playing Warzone as well, especially when your opponent has got the 3 armor plates on. Last but not least, we have a gun that I never thought would make the top 5 list, but not only that, my top 5 list, because I don't necessarily like semi-auto rifles, but this gun is absolutely solid. If you get one headshot and the opponent is on 200 HP, which is 2 armor plates, which is most players to be honest, because it's a struggle to find those 3 armor satchels, then you can get a 3-hit kill very easily with this gun. Now, unfortunately, I've not maxed out yet, because like I said, I'm not a huge fan of semi-auto guns, but I have been using this build right here, and it works perfectly well in this game. So you want to use the VLK optic. Again, you can apply the same attachment tuning if you have maxed out this weapon that we had on the previous VLK optics. Again, you want to use the Boremaster barrel for the recoil control and the bullet velocity. And then when you get to the tuning section, you basically want to max out control on this barrel. Then when it comes to the silencer, the Husher silencer is the best when it comes to aim down sight time on this EBR weapon. And again, you want to max out control on the suppressor. And then we're actually using the lock grip Precision 40, which helps with vertical recoil control. Now people are using like stocks, rear grips, but the Precision 40 is the best at controlling that vertical recoil, so make sure you go ahead and use that. Now when it comes to the attachment tuning for this one, this only helps with hip fire accuracy for some reason, so it's a bit of a weird tuning there, but you don't need to touch that whatsoever. And then we've got the 20 round mags on there as well. Taking this into the firing range, keep in mind this has got no tuning whatsoever. 1, 2, 3 shots pretty much on every gun. Damage per mag is also really solid with that 20 rounds. So overall, you're not going to be missing shots with this at range. Easily beams people at 100 meters plus. And you can basically put a larger optic on this as well if you really want to, and basically use it kind of like a sniper. But that is going to come down to personal preference. I don't think it's going to challenge most snipers at like super far ranges. So there we have it. Those are 5 of the best long range rifles in the game. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to subscribe, and thank you very much for watching.